Hello and welcome to another edition of After the Whistle in my Springfield Commonwealth Academy hoodie. Shout out to Antonio for this. I got a couple polos too from them. I had to rock it and show them some love. But we are here. Todd's here dealing with children.
Children ain't the problem.
Oh man, we got a jam-packed show, so we got to get right into it. There's so much happening in the sports world since as of like Friday, and yeah, it's just been a crazy couple days. Before we get to the NFL stuff, we're gonna start with some NBA stuff, and you know, Kyrie Irving, and trying to understand the mind of Kyrie Irving is that I want to pay the psychologist who could actually try to understand Kyrie. So. He won't be participating in anything with the Nets until I believe they said he gets one dose of vaccine, and he said he's been saying he's not gonna get it. Here's the weird thing about it. So when he was saying that, I thought he made it seem like he was anti-vaccine or something like that. But then he has an interview with the unnamed source, and he's like he's not anti-vaccine, but he's not getting it because he's upset that people lost their jobs because of the mandates and stuff, and I'm just like, and he wants to be the voice for the voiceless. And so I'm like, I don't know.
I have no problem with it. I know you got issues with Kyrie, but let's separate those and his logic right here. My thing is though, all the pressure they are putting on society. Then they got these cases saying that like if you get it, you get COVID, you can still just be as affected as somebody who doesn't have the vaccine. So in all reality, it don't even matter. And then you got to get more dosage of it in the future. So I'm honestly with Kyrie with this.
I ain't with him on this because you're missing. At this point, it's like you got to make a decision. Either you want to play basketball or you don't want to play basketball. This is the mandate that the New York City. It'd be different if he played for another team that doesn't have these mandates.
That's it. Get traded, no problem. At the end of the day, your well-being and your personal well-being for yourself is beyond any occupation, anything. So once again, they could easily trade him. He doesn't have to play for the Nets or anybody in the state of New York. There are other states he could play for.
But
We're not doing this.
He wants to be with the Nets.
That's
his problem.
He just can't play
with the Nets.
He just can't play.
And that's the dilemma he's providing for the team. It's like, dude, what do you want to do? Do you want to be here or not here? Are you anti-vaccine or not? Because you're saying you're not with the. You're saying you're not anti-vaccine, and then you're saying you're not getting it because people have lost their jobs because of it. You're not making sense. People have died because of COVID, but you don't want to get it because people are in jail. His logic makes absolutely no sense. It's just like.
But this is bigger than just his logic, too. The whole country don't make sense. You got Texas not doing mandates, and you got New York with mandates. So how about we just, as a whole, come to an agreement? So now it sounds like a crock of shit. It's time to come off. Like, when you got states that are like, nah, we're not mandating anything. And some states are like, yes, we will. Now it sounds like there's some BS going on in the world. That's all I'm saying. Because if it was as serious as it is, it's either all mandate or no mandate. That's all I'm saying.
It all depends on the states.
That's the problem. It should not depend on the state when it's a health issue. So if it's serious, everybody should be on the same wave. If it's not as serious, you pick and choose. But my thing is, when it's a pandemic, there's no picking and choosing. And this country has been doing this since times.
Well,
so tell me the logic in that.
The logic, hey, if you want to play, it says if you want to play, you have to get it. You don't even have to get the full one. All they're asking him to do is get one. Just the one dose. That's all he needs to do. All his teammates got one dose. Everybody on his team got one dose.
But hold up though. We got states that are saying these things. He's nowhere near as important as a state. So we are not going to sit there and ignore what the states are doing compared to what this one guy is doing. He's not doing anything that's that crazy compared to what these states are doing in the whole U.S.
Not really, because if you look at it, this is a state's decision, yes, yeah. But it's also part of your job's decision too. So this is part of your job for your job with that contract inside.
Only in that state. So just get traded. Yeah, only in that state. You said he can't play in New York. There's
other states he can't play in too.
Yeah, get traded somewhere you can play.
So it's still there's going to be places he can't go.
Honestly, if I'm Kyrie, I'm just not playing this season personally because at the end of the day, you're a man before anything.
At this point, he might as well retire.
He don't got to retire. Trust me, I don't think this is going to be the same as it is in the next couple years, bro. To be honest, it seems like it's hitting the ceiling, and at some point it's either going to deflate or it's going to flow over. Because my thing is, honestly, I think it's partially nonsense because why? Each state shouldn't be able to decide if we're going to have a mandate to protect people. Well, it's either you protect people or you don't. That's just what it is. And one thing I will say, I don't agree with everything Kyrie does, but the world picks on Kyrie way too much, though.
Kyrie sets it up for himself, though.
Let me finish, though. They had issues with him. They had issue with him speaking about Native Americans and all this. They had issues with him with this. I get it. He's different. But at the end of the day, he puts his foot down, and that's what it is. There ain't nothing wrong with being a man and believing in what you feel is right. So if he has to not play this year, I'm with him, personally.
I can respect that. If he doesn't want to play, then he should say, I'm not going to play if you guys are forcing me, if you guys are going to say I have to get it. But he's not making a decision. He's trying to have it both ways. He wants to, I want to play, but I don't want to do this because
we live in a world where the higher reps got both ways, so why can't he?
At some point, you have to make your own decision. You're like, do you want to play or do you want to be in this?
Let's be real.
It's like he doesn't know what he want to do. And most of this stuff, Kyrie brings a lot of this stuff on himself. Like, he does stuff that makes sense, and then he just does other things that it's just like, you interested in?
That's where logic comes in. You guys can't have certain feelings towards him, and then when he got some logical things, it's all an avalanche of nonsense.
Nothing he's doing is logical at this point, though.
Yo, my whole point is, though, you know what I'm saying? You just said he brings it upon himself, meaning that people already have prior issues with him, so it's an avalanche effect with him. So he can't do anything right compared to some people. That's all I'm saying.
And most of these issues, it's he brought it upon himself. It's not like people pick to have these issues. He does the things that people are just like, really? What? Like, he had an issue with LeBron. He left. He had an issue with the Celtics. He left. It was always everybody was the issue. It was never Kyrie was the issue. Now it's just like, you're being an issue to the team right now. But he's like, no, it's not. I'm not the issue. It's like, this is the thing that's always with Kyrie. It's everyone is the issue, and he's never the one in the wrong. And my thing is, once again, he says he's not anti-vax. If you say you're not it, and the reasoning, I could accept that. But then your reasoning for not getting it, it just makes no sense for your reasoning for not getting it. If he made sense for his reasoning to not get it,
why does he have to have this super reason to make people feel comfortable? Maybe he just don't want to get it. And he don't feel comfortable because of the amount of time but people sometimes don't feel like they should have to address something if it's something random. Like I'll be honest, bro. I don't like how the world is kind of like, if you're against something, the peanut gallery wants to have a million opinions about what this man's doing was best for him.
The thing is, he's not against it. That's the issue. He's not against it.
I'm not against it. I'm not against vaccines either, and I'm not vaccinated.
Yeah, but you're not going out saying, I'm not getting this because people are losing their jobs because of this. This is the stuff he's saying. He's saying this is why he's not getting it. But it makes no sense. Like, what? People are losing their jobs because he's mad at. People died. Yep. Like, there's a big difference.
And hold up, see, you said it right there.
His logic is just out of there.
But you said it right there. People died, meaning state by state shouldn't determine what they're doing with the state. If people are dying, everybody should be in one umbrella. That is my point. So now it seems like it's a bunch of nonsense.
No, because some people, they just got old and died because of it. I'm just saying,
some people. Once you put it under COVID situation, this is what it is, bro. My thing is, though, that's what it is. So you can't be like, some people died of COVID and some people died of COVID because they had prior issues. Like, bro, it's either they're killing people or not, bro. Which one is it? Like, that's my whole thing. That's why I say it looks fishy as a whole, because you got states that are able to decide what they're going to do. And people are around the whole world. It should be a worldly thing, not even just a state thing.
That's how the government is. That's how it's been. It's always state and federal. This is like a state and federal.
It's a pandemic, though. This is the first time it's happened in our lifetime, meaning that state federal stuff shouldn't matter. It should be all under one umbrella. That's all I'm saying.
But all states have given people the resources to prevent them from getting COVID. There's resources in all states to prevent people from getting COVID. With him, it's just like he's not.
Hold up, there's no preventing from getting COVID. Once you get the vaccine, you can still get COVID.
Yeah, but you could be fine afterwards.
You're not going
to end up in ICU or anything like that.
There's no preventing COVID, though. There's no preventing the flu. There's no preventing COVID. You can still get it, though.
Yeah, but your chances with the vaccine is surviving.
But you could still get it.
You can still get COVID even if you get the vaccine. But your chances of surviving are way higher with that. With him, he's not even taking no cautions. It's not even asking him to take both. All you need is one dose. And he's sitting there, you're sitting there talking about people are losing their jobs, and this is my reason for not getting it. And it's just like, dude, so you're not against taking it, but the reasoning for you not getting it It just makes no sense. I'd be more if he took the Andrew Wiggins approach and said, it's in my beliefs, I don't want to take it. Even though Andrew Wiggins already decided to take it because he was going to lose money. But I'd have understood it more if he just said, listen, I don't want to take it because I don't want to. This is my belief, blah, blah, blah. Then people would ask him, what exactly is your belief? You could go around that. But when you say stuff like that, dude, it makes no sense.
Now, what do you say about all the nurses and people that were getting laid off that were fighting through the pandemic because they didn't want to get the vaccine? They just all got dropped. But they had no problem with the pandemic, though.
But they're in the health field. If they wanted to get, they should have got it.
My whole point is you had no problem utilizing their work during the pandemic when they weren't vaccinated. Now, all of a sudden, that you make it a mandate and that they decide not to. But they had no problem. You had no problem utilizing that work, though, by slaving through the work.
But they could have not worked. They could have chosen not to.
They were essential, weren't they? Weren't they considered essential?
They were essential, but they could have just said, I'm not going to do it. Because there was many that had decided not to do it because of wherever they worked.
I don't know any of those nurses. I know everybody that was at work. Well, that's all I know.
They still had the choice of not
I just think it's funny, though, that they had no problem saying, come to work, but then when it's time to not get vaccinated, you decide you don't want to get vaccinated, or they just drop you. Like, I just find that funny to me. That's why I say all this stuff is up and down with things. I just don't. I'm just saying.
They had the choice, though.
Hey, I'm just saying.
They had the choice. He's made his choice. We don't know what's going to happen with him, but his decision making and everything just makes no sense.
And they should respect it. And if not, just drop him or trade him.
They'd respect him more if he made up his mind what he want to do.
Just trade him. Just trade him.
Who's going to want to trade him, though? Who's going to want to trade for him? Because there's a circus.
He can go to a state where they can play, man.
I don't think no team wants the circus of Kyrie Irving around him at this point in his career, because it's just, ever since he left Cleveland, it's been everybody's fault besides
I do agree with that, but this one here, I just feel like they're making this way bigger than it is, bro. Like, way bigger than it is. They're not, if he don't play, he don't play. There's many other players out there that could, get opportunity. But, if he don't play, he just don't play.
But he's the one that wanted to put all this together, this team together, and he might be the reason why these guys don't get a championship. One thing I noticed, so whenever an athlete makes a stand, regardless if a side agrees with it or not, they always hammer down on him hard. I go through the history making stands, regardless if it's a pandemic stance or not. I'm just saying, though. Muhammad Ali made a stance, and they call him a coward and all this under the sun. All because he made a decision that was best for him, personally. He didn't want to go to war, which is not a problem. He'd rather go to jail type deal. You know what I'm saying? All I'm saying, though, it's like when people make a stance, the peanut gallery wants to come in there and try to bully somebody. Respect people's stance and their opinions. That's it. You ain't gotta like it. Respect it. I respect it. Would I like to see him playing? Yeah. But am I gonna say, oh, you should play because I'm a avid NBA fan? No. You decide you don't want to play because you feel that's best for you, then don't play. There's certain stances that are up here, and then there's certain stances that are just like,
to you,
whatever, guy.
But to you, though, you're one person. I'm one person. Everybody else is one person.
Yeah,
and that's your opinion. And I respect it, but I don't agree with it.
Kyrie, Muhammad Ali, it's two different things.
Yeah, I get that, but my thing is, though, it's still what's best for them, though. So stop that.
This ain't what's best for Kyrie. Kyrie is already what's best for him.
My thing is, you're putting something that's foreign to you in your body. You don't feel like you should take it.
The thing is, it's not, he doesn't want to get it. He said he is not he said he was not against getting it. That's the only issue. So this isn't like what's best for him. The issue isn't like he's anti-vax, he don't know what's going to happen. He just doesn't want to get it because people lost their jobs. That's his logic, and that's one dumb logic.
I agree with that. I'll give you that.
Another dumb thing we have going on in the sports world is Jon Gruden. I don't even know how this came up, but they were investigating the Washington football team because somebody on their staff was doing some illegal stuff with drugs, and they had to, this happened. It was like last week or something. They had to put him on leave. I think it was on the training staff or something. They had to put him on leave. Doing this whole investigation on Washington football team, they've had a lot of issues the past couple of years.
They still don't have a name.
With the cheerleading, that cheerleading scandal, that story that came on the Washington Post. So they came up with Jon Gruden and emails he sent, which wasn't even part of the investigation, but Friday they came out, Jon Gruden said some racial stuff about DeMaurice Smith, and then he coached Sunday. Then Monday, the bombshell drops. He covered everything. He wanted racism, homophobic,
in the emails?
misogynist, yeah, and all this sexism, sending there's a whole lot of stuff in this email. I think it's like over 6,000 emails. In other words, John Gruden lost his job. Well, didn't lose his job. He resigned because he just couldn't keep his job after this. And my thing was just like, whoo, there's a lot more people in that email because they said there's like over 6,000 emails.
My whole point is just they knew about this a long time ago. And that's my thing. Like, just like the Billups thing, you waited till he got a position to throw him. Like, y'all.
This is the First of all, this is why they being the Colin Kaepernick. They got all that money because you know if they dig deeper into that email, they'll find out all the things they were saying about
my
him.
Man, we already know how the NFL treats their people. That's why when the kid asked me my second favorite sport, I told him soccer. Because I love the sport of football, I just hate how they treat their players. They have no respect for the people that they consider employees. So with that being said, like, bro, they've been knew about this. The only reason why he resigned because they found out. If they never found out, his ass will be coaching the Raiders.
But he's a small fry, though. He's a small fry because the bigger picture is the owner of the Washington football team because they got a whole bunch of emails.
You have to work for the most racist organization if you still can't figure out a team just because they took Redskin off the name. I mean, yeah, it's because they took Redskin off. Yeah. Like, let's be serious here. Yeah. You got to be a whole racist if you can't think of another name other than Redskins.
Yeah, it was this whole ordeal was just confusing because I don't understand why the Raiders even let him coach after the first wave of incidents came out with the racism stuff. I don't even know how they let him coach on Sunday just for him to resign on Monday because it was just like, all right, we're just gonna let that go.
The week.
Let that go. And that's not even the worst part. The worst part, they were sending these guys that were in this email, they were sending topless photos of cheerleaders to each other in these emails. And the thing is, they're sending the emails on their work emails or something like that.
Time out. Emails? Not even just like...
Emails. Yeah, emails. Yeah, there was a whole...
They're old.
Yeah.
It's
like a whole fraternity of these guys.
I'm just like, why would you like emails? Like, first of all, ladies, why are you emailing them guys anything?
They might have sent the. I don't even know how they got the email. I don't even know how they got that.
I was thinking it might have been like for like cheerleader measurements or something like.
But this whole story is ordeal, and they're still going through these emails. So in the upcoming weeks we're going to see more names popping up. But yeah, John Gruden is kind of like the small fry. It's kind of it kind of makes me feel like I've been right about how the NFL and the people upstairs how they look at their players and treat their players. I mean, he was calling for Eric Reed to be fired. He was calling he called the vice president the P word or the current president the P word.
P word don't bother me none.
He called stuff. What else he called? He said a whole lot of stuff. He was batting the cycle. You know, all the stuff they say, that, you know, the racism, the misogynist, the homophobic stuff, and all that. He just covered everything in these emails that were discovered. So it was right. And there were a lot of people caping for him with the racism stuff, saying he's not racist and stuff like that. People were on TV, like Tony Dungy, Mike Tirico, even. I mean,
they probably say that based on their personal relationships with them. But you know me, I tell you, like, if you over the age of 65, 70, I know you said time early in your life, and I don't rock with you.
And Keyshawn Johnson was saying this back in like 2000, in the mid 2000s.
And the reason why I said what I just said is because, like, think about how old they were back then. They were already adults when segregation, all that stuff was still around. So, like, please, I'm not buying it. Like, yeah, you might want to change. You might want to, what's the word I'm looking for? What's the word? Like, change the leaf or whatever they call that. Like,
I know what you mean.
Yeah, y'all know what I mean. You might want to change who you were back then to now, but you still are always going to be who you are.
He from Ohio. From Ohio.
Okay.
There's a history. I'm pretty sure somewhere in his bloodline or one of his grandparents or something. So he probably was around some of that stuff we talking about. But we'll see what happens with this because John Gruden is not even the big player in this. He's like small fry compared to what it's going to discover.
Get down there?
Probably, but it seemed like they were talking about Goodell in the emails. From what he said.
Please.
Plus, he works. They're his boss anyway. So, the GMs. Crazy Monday night game that I almost fell asleep to, and I think Lamar Jackson needs to start. People need to stop trying to disrespect him and saying he can't throw the ball, because this dude, we could say for this season, he's had to do the most for his teams out of all the quarterbacks in the league right now.
He's doing everything, which is a problem. There's no reason why you should have 3 more rushing yards than your running backs. 3 more carries than your running backs. This is what makes the Ravens a quality team. Granted, they had their running backs injured, but they implemented some new guys in there. Just release some pressure from the man. And they look slow. They look slow to start the game off, too.
They
always look slow to start the game.
They fell behind. They fell behind. It was like 22-9. But the thing that changed for me in this game, when the Colts scored a touchdown, I think late in the third, they went for 2. And I'm just like, why are you going for 2 now? I get it. You kind of want to make it a 2 or 3 score game. In my head, I'm just like, why would you go for 2 now? Shouldn't you wait a little later or so? Because the calculations, I don't know. It was just weird. And I felt like that was kind of the turning point in the game. And also people missing field goals too. That's another story. But that right there, that was kind of a turning point.
Yeah, man. I watched some of this game. I felt like I was in and out of this game personally. Like, you're not going to win many games. You go 1 for 4 from the red zone. You know what I mean? Baltimore 3 for 5. Only thing I didn't like, I like how Jackson is, getting into his receivers, averaging 10.3 yards a pass.
Marquise Brown's finally catching the ball.
Yeah, Marquise Brown had 9 receptions to 125, 2 TDs. So he got a couple reliable receivers, but we just need those running backs to relieve pressure, because he shouldn't have to throw the ball 43 times. You know what I mean? Like 35, 40 at the most. Like, because there's no, you guys just relieve pressure and the energy this man is doing. But Brandon Stevens, though, on the defensive end, 12 tackles with 6 solo. He was out there balling.
No, I'm just looking up these running backs too, because I don't even know what running backs they got in there right now. They got. Yeah.
My thing is, though, 14 carries, 62 yards. He could have got 62 yards off left carries, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. But kudos to the Ravens. They're probably one of everybody's talking about the Bills and Cowboys and all these other teams, but these guys, they're playing really well, despite having so many people injured. So kudos to Lamar Jackson. If you want to talk about early season MVPs, he should be right up there, because there's nobody that is doing it with so much of the injuries to this team that's happening, especially on the offensive side with all the running backs. Patriots, we're going to the Pats. I keep asking people, what is the difference between the Pats offense this year and last year, and nobody answer for me. I had to go on social media and ask all these people that were so happy that we have a new quarterback, and I asked, what's the difference between this year's offense and last year's offense, and nobody could give me an answer. They just keep giving me excuses that the offensive line is not good. The offensive line wasn't good last year, and the quarterback got all the blame. So I was just saying, everybody is telling on themselves right now, saying what the problem with the Patriots offense is, and these excuses.
I think the problem is they're not forcing so much with Jones now, because they ran the ball 30 times for 126 yards, 4 yards a carry. With Cam, they were just trying to force it with Cam. I feel like just because he's Cam.
Yeah.
But because of Mac Jones and he's trying to get implemented to being the starter for the full season, they want to. I wanted to say they wanted to bring him in, gradually, but they had him throw the ball 40-some times, 50-some times last game. So. Yeah. I'll be honest, they just run the ball more, and they're just giving relieving some pressure off Mac Jones.
They need to, because they're not that good. They're not that good at anything. They're bottom of the league in a lot of the stats: scoring, passing, all that, rushing too. We're still having these issues in the red zones of getting touchdowns, even though you're seeing he seems to find continuity with the tight ends. He's starting to that, so hopefully that improves. But yeah, they gotta get the red zone issues fixed, because it's frustrating when you get in the red zone and you just kicking field goals all the time. And you could get away against bad teams, but when you play good teams, you got to get touchdowns. And this game also changed when the Texans decided to get cute and try that, whatever they were doing with that punt. It was just like, dude, what are y'all doing? Just punt the ball away. But they got cute. Punt hits the back of the player's head, and then Pats get the momentum. And good for them, because they needed this win.
Yeah, a lot of people thought the Pats lost. Even the guy on red zone thought they lost. I thought they lost.
The way they played, yeah, man,
So,
it was bad.
We're just happy they squeaked out a win. They've been dying to get one. Unfortunately, New England fans, it's going to be a long season for us, so it's going to be a long couple seasons for us.
Yeah, they got
so, just appreciate that we had Brady for 20 years and forget we had Bledsoe.
Oh, my gosh. And stop making excuses for this new quarterback, because y'all telling on yourselves, and I'm going to start calling out names, because some of y'all. Man.
And we got to stop being spoiled New England fans. We had a 20-year run. Like, no other franchise is going to do that.
Yeah.
Like, they're not going to do it.
Yeah.
It's just not going to happen.
Wildest game, there are two wild games. Well, one of the most wild games, Chargers and Browns, with the back and forth going on. And again, another issue, missed field goals happening in this one. But to me, what I got out of this game is Baker Mayfield isn't the type of guy you say, when you guys are done, all right, lead us to come back. Because they were up this game, and then when the Chargers took the lead, the Browns had their opportunity. And it seemed like Baker just, I don't know what it is, why he's not targeting OBJ, but for some reason, it's like he just does not like to throw him the ball. I think OBJ had like three attempts. He threw it to him like 3 times. It makes absolutely no sense.
Some QBs just have their favorite targets, man. Yeah. I don't know what's going on behind the scenes between him and OBJ. Sometimes there can be like some subtle, uncomfortable hate relationship between guys, and they don't even speak on it. You know what I mean? There's some people you don't really care about, but you don't really say much to them. You just play with them, and that's what it is.
Yeah.
So it might be something like that.
3 targets.
Yeah, he might not feel comfortable throwing it to OBJ because of how much he forced it a couple years ago. Last year, 2 years ago?
Both.
Yeah.
Before he got hurt.
So maybe he's still trying to get acclimated to playing with OBJ. Because honestly, when OBJ got injured, it was balling. So I guess he might be trying to squeeze him back in, but realizing that like we don't even really need OBJ. To be honest with you, like
this is why I think they're not gonna go for it. I don't think he's that. If you're really that guy at quarterback, it don't matter who your receiver is. Yeah. You know who the best receiver is. You're gonna get him the ball. But
let's be real here. There aren't that many that guys at quarterback.
Right. Yeah, there's probably like 5 right now.
That's what you see my hand. I had 5 right up. Like.
But we know one guy who is that guy is Justin Herbert. Man, this dude, he's on a tear right now, man. He's just, it's like the game's just coming so easy for him, and he's getting everybody involved too. He had three guys with over 5 catches, but they also ran the ball 23 times effectively. I mean, they passed it 43 times, but the 23 times they effectively ran the ball. Cleveland did too. Cleveland's running.
I need Herbert to throw less than 40 passes though, because Eckler's nice.
Oh yeah,
he's nice.
Yeah,
feed him a little more. Feed him more. He only had 17. Yeah. I get it. They gave the ball to a couple other guys, but give him 20, 25 touches. He's nice.
I think they want to use him in that passing game. That's why he gets those passing attempts too. Those are like screens and stuff like that. I think that's like their default kind of running game.
Overall, he had 119 yards, 3 touchdowns. But he could have had like 4 or 5 touchdowns if you just kind of feed him a little more. But what about Derwin James, man? Derwin James, 17 tackles, 9 solo. He was everywhere.
Yeah, they're saying he's one of the bright spots on their defense.
17 tackles,
and he's coming back from injuries and stuff like that.
Is that a season high for
for safeties, probably?
Bro, 17, 9 solo. I ain't seen it all season.
Yeah,
How's I see it was like 10 or 12
for safeties too. For safeties too, but and they scored 47 points against a good defense too. So man, woo. All right, quickly, Cowboys, they won their 4th straight, but their division is so trash. We got Daniel Jones doing the Ric Flair because
man, that had me crying.
I don't know what he was even thinking trying that. And what are you thinking? You're the quarterback, man. You know you're supposed to protect yourself.
I'm not gonna lie to you. I like him more than Eli. Cause he ain't scared.
Man.
Before I know we had a lot to say about Daniel Jones just because of how he got drafted and where he came from, and just because we didn't think he was that skilled and somebody got drafted before him. Yeah. But I love that he ain't scared. He be running, he be doing all that. I did think he threw up in his mouth a little bit when he got tackled.
He did something.
With the booger hanging out his lips.
Something happened to him because he was just like. And that does not look good at all. It looked like it's stumbling out the club after a long night of taking shots. That's what it looked like.
That was. I mean, me and Justin thought he was all right until he took them 2 steps. He was like, oh. I was like, oh.
Yeah, but the Cowboys, they won their 4th straight. I mean, they're playing good. They've got Ezekiel Elliott back in the game, that running game. They're not having Dak do as much anymore. Like, they're playing well-rounded
They're
football.
so balanced. Yep. They had 23 first downs, 13 passing, and 10 running. That sounds kind of like the old school Cowboys.
Yeah. These guys are definitely making a noise, but we're gonna see what happens when they play some of the better teams in the league. But right now, I like how they're playing. They're not playing like the way they were playing last year, just abysmal on both ends.
And like this is the second game in a row where Dak threw less passes than rushes attempted. He threw 32 passes. They rushed for 39 times, which is dope. But one thing I would say. Barkley, man, getting injured kills them because Booker, he ain't got no moves.
Yeah, Barkley stay getting hurt.
But like Booker, like is he like just like a downhill running back? I didn't know like they really had those type of players. I thought they all had a little bit of something. Like because Jacobs for the Raiders, he run like he playing pickup football in the backyard, like got all the moves. I mean, I don't know if I'm the one that feels that way, but he got some moves out there. But Booker, like he was just like straight. Granted, he scored a couple times, but I was like, bro, where your moves at? Like,
I don't know. So the Cowboys are 4-1. They will be coming up here to play the Pats. They haven't beaten the Pats in a while too, so we'll see. This game should be interesting. I don't know when the last
still gonna root and bet on our Pats to win.
They might win because Dallas has actually had issues up here every time they came up here.
Hopefully it's cold.
If it was a night game. All right, lastly, man, the wild game in Cincinnati where there was, I think, 5 or 6 consecutive missed field goals in this one.
No, it was 6.
Yeah.
Because it was almost 7, and I told Justin, I said, he got to make this one. It was
the last one, right?
The other one's too close. The other one's too close. He got this one. Bro, but like, the funniest thing is I was watching it with Justin. He had it on the TV. On the tablet and on his phone, and they're all at different speeds. But his phone was like the smart cast or whatever it's called. Like he would already hit me before I got to see it on Red Zone. So all I had to do was hit me, and I had to see the replay. And I'm like, dog, he really missed.
Yeah, I saw that one too. The one the Bengals had the chance to win it. I said he was gonna miss it because I'm just like he looked a little nervous right there, and I was just like, man. And I also fault the Bengals for not getting closer because they were kind of, some teams do this. They get kind of, when they get in field goal range, they start playing all conservative and not wanting to get closer. Like, so they'll run the ball. Knowing the defense knows they're going to run the ball to get closer. So I think teams just need to be more aggressive.
Yeah, man, because we were yelling at Rodgers to get in the end zone. He's throwing a couple good passes, and all of a sudden, bloop, like.
Yeah.
But.
Get in the red zone. Get a touchdown. Granted. Better than a field goal.
What a game.
Yeah, it was a game.
What a game.
That was a great game.
that was a quality game.
Both of them quarterbacks, Burrow and Rodgers, they were out there. They was hooping. And then Ja'Marr Chase, the guy people were so critical for the Bengals of drafting instead of a tackle, he's showing you why he was actually the best receiver on that LSU championship team. Justin Jefferson gets all the praise because what he's doing now, but Chase was the best receiver on that team.
Actually, I was on FaceTime with Rel, too. So they was talking about the kicks and all of that, and he was giving us updates. So I had to hear about it, see it from Justin, get slapped, look at the red zone all delayed. So I knew they won it before they actually I saw it. But
let's go over to Craig. Craig got some thoughts on the Bills and the Chiefs game, and he also got some thoughts on John Gruden and Raiders. We're gonna come back. We got WNBA finals, just to talk about. I don't even want to talk about game 1. I want to talk about the game deciding game between the Aces and the Suns. All right, we're gonna come back.
What up, everybody, and welcome once again to No Huddle here on After the Whistle. It's your boy Craig here to give you my NFL updates of the week. Let's start off by talking about John Gruden real quick. As you know, or maybe you don't, John Gruden has resigned from the Raiders, and had he not resigned, most likely would have been terminated due to inappropriate language via email. The Redskins were investigated due to personnel issues or whatever, And during this investigation, emails sent by John Gruden 10 years ago, the initial email that was found was about the head of the NFL Players Association, where he called him dumbasis, whatever, basically saying he was dumb and that his lips were the size of Goodyear tires. And people deemed this to be racist. Was it racist? Yeah, it definitely was racist. But then there was also emails sent later on that were, found out later on that there were other emails sent that had comments about anti-gay comments and other such comments in of that regard. And my personal thing was, one, if you're saying stuff like that, because let's be clear, like, people say racist stuff all the time. Not just white people, and not just, bad people. People just happen to say racist shit. And John Gruden said this stuff 10 years ago. Does this mean John Gruden stopped being racist 10 years ago? Probably not. Is John Gruden like the I hate black people racist? Probably not. Is he the type of racist who considers himself elite and above those of other races? Most likely. But he said these things 10 years ago, and now he's suffering the consequences. I agree and I don't agree. Maybe there should have been just some sort of punishment. But at the end of the day, you're a public figure. You're a coach of men of color. You can't say stuff like this. And the fact that you said it in an email when you know anything said, written down electronically or not, can always be recovered. So that was pretty stupid. This is your job. You should be keeping your language professional. But he made his mistake, and now he is paying the consequences for it. I would be surprised if you ever saw him in any public feature, may it be as an announcer or anything, ever again in the future. His professional career is probably done. Moving on to the Buffalo Bills and my boy Josh Allen, who mopped the floor with Kansas City Chiefs. Are the Kansas City Chiefs just bad? Or have teams figured out Patrick Mahomes and his wannabe no-look passing? Patrick Mahomes needs to stop doing all that, stop playing around, and get back to fundamental football. The NFL has figured him out, and the Bills stomped his butt for it. It was a beautiful game for Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills. They looked incredible. You know me, I'm not a New York team fan, but when you got a kid playing this good at this high of a level, you have to show respect where respect's due. And Patrick Mahomes is not doing his thing at all. He's throwing more interceptions in the first 5 games of the season than he's thrown all season long last year. So I don't know what needs to change, what needs to be done, but it's not looking good for the Chiefs. They're down 3 games now, maybe 2. I know they lost to the Ravens and they lost the Bills, so maybe they're 3-2. I'm not really sure, but things are not looking good for them boys right now. So let's hope they can make some improvements and get back on the right track. But the Bills are looking strong. Arizona Cardinals remaining undefeated, going up against a tough defense in Arizona. But we'll see what happens with the future. So with that being said, that's all I have for you this week, and we'll see you next week on No Huddle. Back to After the Whistle.
Yeah, that game, man. I ain't watched game 1, but
I don't think I watched game 1.
Game 2 tonight. All right, and we are back. We're going to go through some other stuff right now. Ben Simmons is reporting to camp because that money, he saw that the money wasn't hitting his account, and the money talks. So the saga.
That's pretty sad when you kind of like, you got to put your foot back in your mouth. You put your foot in your mouth. Or you got to just kind of go back, put your head down. Like, I thought I had as much pull and as much say, and I thought I was wanted as much as I thought I was, and then realized, like, oh, cricket.
Someone said he's going to show up to practice like that Fresh Prince episode, Will was on the basketball team. He's like, yo, what's up, my people?
Don't be surprised.
Oh, man, WNBA Finals, Game 1, the Chicago Sky took the Game 1. Game 2 is tonight. I really want to talk about the game before Game 1, Las Vegas and Phoenix in that deciding Game 7, or was it Game 5, whatever, Game 7, Game 5.
I don't remember which game
It was a crazy game. I didn't like how it ended with the ref calling that little ticky-tack foul to send the girl to free throw line. But, man, Diana Taurasi came up with some big plays down the stretch, and then Brittany Griner is just like, yo. It's like, what you can do with that? Because, granted, the Aces have Liz Cambage and Asia Wilson, but it was just like, Brittany Griner, when she got the ball in the post, it was just like, what can you do?
Well, for one, she's second leading scorer in the WNBA.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? So she's been balling this year. Like, yeah, this is what it is. She figured out. Man, Diana Taurasi, I thought she was leading, one of the leaders, but I guess she's not eligible because she's having 15 a game, but because Skylar's number 9. I was just 17. I was looking for Diana.
Yeah.
So, you know.
Man, but that game, it was really great. The girl, Gray, I forget her first name, I'm sorry. Gray for the Aces. She was coming up with big shots. With big shots after, I forget her first name, but I know her last name. Gray. She was coming up with big shots. And I thought the Aces were going to get that game because they had that last second shot. And Asia Wilson, I was like, damn. How she missed that. Because it seemed like that's one of those things that's routine for her. Because once you get inside that paint, it's like, it's easy buckets for her. But I was like, man.
Yeah, man, shout out to Candace Parker, man. Going home, first year playing in Chicago, bringing them to the finals. That's dope, man.
Yeah, and they got a chance to go up 2-0. And she's already such on a legendary status in her basketball. Yeah, I saw it. And then, but for her to do this in, what year is she now? Like 17 or 18? Like, I think she came in the league like 2004 or something like that.
I don't remember. Because I don't think she didn't play every year, I don't think.
No, she did not.
So that's why I said
she had an injury year one. I know she was injured one year, and then I think there was one year she had the baby.
Yeah.
And so, but for the Chicago Sky, and they took that game on the road too, so they already took back home court advantage. And then if they go up 2-0 tonight and they go back home.
You know what's crazy though, because like the Sky got like the bottom half. They got 3 scorers in the bottom half of the top scorers in the league, and then the Phoenix got the top 3.
Yeah, game 1, 91-77. It was the Sky just had control of the whole game, and the Mercury made a little run, but they would just playing catch up the whole entire game, so it was a little difficult. And playing catch up in sports, it's just exhausting. Exhausting.
Playing catch up against guys or women that are actually good is even worse because you think like I got a chance to miss it. Nope. Bucket, especially in the finals.
Yeah. All right. There was a boxing match on Saturday that ended in 12 rounds, but a lot of people thought it should have run over in the 6th round. Tyson Fury with the victory over Deontay Wilder. Which one of their fights was a draw? One of them was a draw.
First one.
The first one?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's why Tyson got the belt the second fight.
Okay. I thought it was the second one that was.
I heard. I heard Wilder came in there heavier than usual.
Yeah, 20.
If I just would have came in there the same weight, I just would have trained 10 times as high. Because when I seen the highlights of the fight, and then I seen Tyler going to a rave after, behind the DJ booth. What was that guy's name?
Aiko.
Yeah, him. Yeah, I'm like, dude, like that made me feel like Wilder didn't train hard enough. Or Fury's just naturally a boxer.
Oh, Fury just figured him out after that fight. I think he probably figured him out when he came back to life when Wilder knocked him out. Yeah, I think he probably figured him out in that one. But yeah, this one.
The energy that man had after the fight, and then how Wilder was looking, it just seemed like one just trained a lot harder and was just like in the best shape possible, and the other one might not have been, or it just might have been the beating he took. I don't know. I'm not 6'9" fighting people.
Yeah, it's just abnormal. It was just a dominant overall fight by Fury. He pretty much controlled the majority of the fight. But I mean, the positive about this is Wilder ain't go out like no punk. Like they went 12 rounds, even though I think 11 rounds I should say. Sorry, they didn't go 12 rounds. They went 11. the Tyson Wilder's team could have thrown in the towel. I don't think Wilder wanted another towel being thrown in after the first one. But hey, you got to give it up to him.
Hey, he ain't no Apollo Creed, all right? But honestly, I know a lot of people are showing their support with Wilder. You know me, if you lose, you lose. This is what it is. I'm not giving you no pity-potty for losing. This is, you lost. But a lot of people congratulate him based on his road to being a professional boxer, you know, being a divisional football player and then working a job as you're training to be a boxer and continuing to work. So you lost, man. It's all good, bro. Respect.
I mean, it's boxing.
Yeah,
ain't nobody going, well, you can't win them all. I mean, it's your Mayweather, but you can't win them all, especially in the heavyweight division. It's tough out there. So we'll see what's next for Fury. Who's he going to fight next?
Might be Joshua. I mean, I'll watch. I mean, people will watch it. It's just not as anticipated as it once was because both y'all don't got any hardware.
Yeah, the suspense is gone. If I was Wild, I'd be like, all right, I did my time. I boxed.
I'll be honest. If I was Wild, I would have told Joshua, told you so.
Yeah. Yeah, all right. The Red Sox, they have advanced to the American League Championship Series. They will be playing against the Houston Astros and winning both games at home on back-to-back walk-offs, which was a little wild. And it looked like this series was going to be all Rays after the first game. But the Red Sox, their hitters, they definitely came in clutch. Kiki came in clutch. Vasquez came in clutch. It was one of those things. It was like they're home and we're not about to blow this. You
want to know what else happened? It's been nice out. Y'all think we joking? As much as we joke about it, I'm dead serious when I tell you the Red Sox are good when it's nice out.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, he got a point. They are. So, but this was big for them considering all that happened last year and how bad they were last year and how bad they were the second half of the season where it looked like they might not even make the playoffs. So for them to go on this run, it feels like they got the momentum going to make that run to the World Series. But playing against Houston is going to be tough because Houston has faced them. Did play them tough this whole season, but it's kind of interesting that Houston has made
They stopped cheating, right?
Yeah. This is their 5th year in a row of being in the championship series.
You sure they stopped cheating?
I don't know. Maybe they didn't. They're just not getting caught. But
hey, Todd Sr.'s famous quote: "You ain't cheating, you ain't trying."
But for them just to get to this point 5 years in a row, I mean, in baseball, in any sport actually,
that's quality. Yeah, that's quality.
That's quality. So
the Yankees ever do that?
Probably like when they weren't letting black people play baseball.
Oh, he wasn't even in existence yet.
Yeah, so
yeah, Gina wasn't even light skinned yet.
All right, more about the Red Sox. So I talked to sideline reporter for the Red Sox for New England Sports Network, Mr. Jahmai Webster. We talked about the series against the Rays and we previewed the American League Championship Series. So check this out. Hello and welcome to another edition of the Plus One interview. And today we have a special guest. He's an Emmy Award winner, sideline reporter at NESN, covering the Red Sox. He's had a busy couple days. I mean, it was Mr. Jahmai Webster. How are you doing, sir?
Hey, not too bad, Mukala. Thanks for having me. Certainly trying to recover from the division series that the Red Sox just had.
Yeah, wild one. I think you're the first. You might be like the first or second Emmy Award winner we've had as a guest on here. So this is big for us.
Well, hey, I'm happy to do it. Just like my Twitter profile proclaims, I'm an unofficial trailblazer.
Definitely. Man, we had a lot to talk about these Red Sox. Before we go into the divisional series win, I want to go back to the wild card round against the Yankees and how that was another wild one, just getting into the postseason and then the magnitude of the matchup between the Yankees and Red Sox. Everybody knows the history with that. Can you just talk about being in that game right there, the atmosphere and how that was?
I mean, yeah, the atmosphere was electric. You think about the history, as you mentioned, of the two franchises with the Yankees and the Red Sox and all the bad blood, really, that both organizations have had over the past few years. Not so much as in recent times, because I think it's a different game with some of these baseball players now a lot more chummy, so to speak. and a lot more friendships across the game. I think because of the advent of social media, it's really opened up the world to a lot of people. So they know each other well, they play each other, and they respect each other. But what a series that was. And considering, as you alluded to, how the Red Sox kind of limped into the postseason, so to speak, over the course of the last maybe month or so, to be able to come into that game. And then also just a couple of weeks prior to that, they got swept by the Yankees at home with the same type of atmosphere. So you really didn't know what to expect in that game, but to be able to come out on the winning end of that, to continue their series, it was a magnificent experience to be a part of, and a team that you got to give credit to for what you thought they would be, and they were able to finally accomplish that and live up to those expectations that they had set when the season began in the first half of the year.
Yeah, the addition of Alex Cora, bringing him back, it's proved to be such a big difference, because you're going from a team that finished last place last year to a team that may potentially end up in the World Series. It's like what a difference a year makes.
I mean, absolutely. I mean, it was a 60-game pandemic-shortened season, and they still finished 12 games below 500, just 24-36. And it was a tough time, obviously, playing baseball in the middle of that, really at the height of what's going on, that's even continuing on even into right now as we speak. But it was a tough situation for Ron Renicky to take over that franchise at the time. And a lot of players who you look at and see where they are now, and they weren't really big leaguers, some of those pieces that they put on. So it was a tough year, but a lot of people feeling much better about what's happening right now. Alex Cora, he certainly has an effect on the organization, on the clubhouse, on the players, and he's able to maximize and get the best out of them. And that's something that he's always been praised at being able to do. So it was part of the reason, you have to think, why he was brought back into the fold, because of his effect on the game, his IQ, and his ability to have relationships with his players as well.
Definitely. Now, the divisional round between the Sox and the Rays had their number in the regular season, and it looked like they had their number in the first two games. Game 1 with the 5-0 shutout, and then Game 2 they start off right off bat with a grand slam. It kind of looked like, this might be a sweep, but somewhere in that Game 2 they flipped the switch and were able to rally.
Absolutely, and it really comes down to the theme that I really have given this team all year is relentless. That's how they approach every single day of the 162-game season. Even when they were going through their lulls, they still be able to apply that pressure. So you think about the 100-win Rays, the best team record-wise in the American League, already coming out with the 1-0 shutout, feeling like they may be steamrolled in this series. And then not only the grand slam, but you accentuate that with the fact that it was given up by Chris Sale, who is the undoubted ace of this team, albeit returning from Tommy John surgery. So you temper your expectations there. But because of what he was able to give you as the season ended, you felt good about him going in there for a Game 2 situation in Tampa. And for them to be down 5-0 at one point, then chasing a 5-2 lead that the Tampa Bay Rays had built, you just didn't feel great about it. But this team just continued to fight back. And that was pivotal in a 5-game series, because they were able to leave Tampa with a split. And then we saw what happened after that, essentially shifting home field back to Fenway Park. And they were able to take care of business in 4 against the Rays and move on now to the American League Championship Series.
Guys just came up big in each of the last 3 games. You know, you have with not including the 2 walk-offs that happened, but just in Game 2, there were so many guys that came up big and made big plays on that. It seemed like this was something we saw from this team earlier. They were getting a lot of hits, a lot of crunch hits in the first half, and it seemed like that wasn't happening in the second half of the season. But then, you know, in this series, those guys that were making plays early on in the season came up big in this one.
Absolutely. And it started with that first walk-off win to take a 2-1 series lead from Christian Vasquez with a 2-run home run. All season, Alex Cora has kind of been explaining about his offensive numbers not really being where he would have expected himself, that being Christian, coming into this year. But he's been solid defensively, solid as a catcher back there. And you recall the year that he had, I believe it was 2019, coming off that World Series win where he hit almost 20-something home runs, and you're like, okay, well, is this man, exploding? He's obviously more towards the middle as far as the power numbers are concerned, but he has the potential to come through in clutch situations, and that was something that Cora had explained towards the end of the year, as if to say that when it's a big moment or when things are tight, you can count on Vasquez to come through with the big hit, and he was able to do that. And then offensively as well, they have proclaimed, put the ball in play, good things happen. You know, when they have runners in scoring position, specifically on third base with less than 2 outs, you got to bring that guy in. You know, you put the ball in play, things happen. That's something that the Rays had done well all year, which is why they led the league in scoring runs after the 7th inning late in games. But it seems like the Red Sox were able to flip the script in this one, and you had offensive contributions from up and down the lineup. I mean, a historical game, too, as well. And then Kike Hernandez having 5, almost 6 hits in that contest. J.D. Martinez coming back, having his Kurt Gibson moment, his Kurt Schilling moment, coming back from the ankle. Willis Reed, if you will, for people who are basketball fans out there. Paul Pierce, you know, coming back from the wheelchair for people who are fans of the Celtics. But coming back from injury and being able to come through in such a pivotal October signature moment has really been what this team has been able to do up until this point in the postseason. And it's been fun to watch, and it's been fun to watch this offense really reach or at least approach the potential that we had expected they'd be able to do all year, because they've been a good offensive team all year. It's just that at different moments in time, they've had those lulls. But right now, I would certainly say they're clicking, and it's good to be hitting that stride right now this deep into the postseason.
And looking ahead to the championship series, they will be going up against Houston. It seemed like Houston, this is 5 consecutive years they've made the American League Championship Series appearance. And what is it about this team? You know, they've had all that controversy, but they still have put forth great teams out there to get back to the World Series. What is it about this team that's going to be a tough matchup, that's going to be tough for the Red Sox?
Well, I mean, it's a good point that you bring up, because they are talented, even without the controversy that followed them from the sign stealing of 2017 when Alex Cora was the bench coach, having been the scapegoat in some aspects from some of the upper management people in the front office. And a lot of the players really threw him under the bus. So he kind of referenced this in June about how it was a tough series to manage when they faced each other over, I think it was 11 days, 7 times over an 11-day span, where they, you know, were in Houston, and then the Astros came to Boston, and how tough that was and emotional it was, because this was the first time they had been on the field since that situation had broke after the 2019 season, which essentially left him out of a job for 2020 and suspended from baseball, and then subsequently fired from the Red Sox before being rehired. But to be a team that is this talented, and I think that's why a lot of people around baseball were scratching their heads, because they don't really need to cheat because they're so talented offensively with their lineup. Alex Bregman, Carlos Correa, Jose Altuve, and some of the offensive firepower that they have now and even into this season, it felt like, you know, it was one of those things where they were doing the most, and that's why it came back to bite them. But you feel like this team is good offensively, and that's really what we saw in that June series, because it seemed like they were far and away above the Red Sox. And the Red Sox were only able to win 2 of those 7 games that they played each other head to head. So it'd be interesting to see how this plays out, because the Sox are a different team offensively. The Houston Astros have a little bit of injury concerns right now. I think Lance McCullers left one of their last games. He's being evaluated right now to see where he goes. He's obviously been one of their workhorse pitchers all season long. So that could place an impact on how this series plays out. The Red Sox do have Chris Sale back. They've got some bullpen arms in Tanner Houck, who have been able to give them long relief and been dominant in those roles. Garrett Whitlock, arguably the rookie of the year in the conversation, certainly. And now this is a roster built out of the 26 best guys. It's no longer, you know, a full 40-man roster where you have all these pieces. Now, because it's the playoffs, you have to set your roster. So it's the 26 best guys that they're putting out there to try and win a series. So you feel good about that and all those pieces that I just mentioned, and coming in and playing a team that you haven't seen since June, but they won 95 games, the Astros. They were the second best team in the American League, but the Red Sox, they won 92 games. They were just right there. And, you know, they got into the postseason. They won a wild card. It feels like at this point, they've been a little bit more battle tested than the Houston Astros team. And they've got the opportunity to have gone into this series with a little bit more rest. So that could play a factor as well in being able to reset the rotation, being able to reset the bullpen, and seeing how that plays out for this series with Houston having their issues, though they got past the Chicago White Sox, but still, coming on a little bit less rest than what the Red Sox are managing right now.
Yeah, and lastly, how do you think Chris Sale's confidence is? Because he did get pulled early in his last outing. How do you think his confidence is going into this series? Because they're definitely going to need him in this series for some key pitching.
Absolutely, and it's really hard to say because Chris he's a bulldog on the mound. That's why people love him, because of how he approaches every outing that he's on the mound, that he's pitching. And he always seems like a confident guy. I don't think I've ever seen him, feeling like he's being defeated at any moment in time. Pitchers have bad outings, yes, but to have consecutive outings in the postseason, which is magnified by all eyes basically watching the situation, I'd imagine that is probably a bit disheartening for him as a competitor to have to go through that. But the beauty of it is he gets an opportunity to bounce back, and they've been talking about working with him, continuing to refine him. And I've heard a lot of experts as well speak of coming back from Tommy John. You're really not yourself until year 2. So not the first season that you return, but after that, you finally start to return to where you are. So as I mentioned previously, what he's given the Red Sox to this point, aside from what he's done in the postseason, has been good enough. If he can get somewhere in the middle there, and pitch 4 or 5 innings and be dominant, give up 1 earned run or less, or even 2, that's still manageable. And with this offense, you think this team will be able to fight through that. So if they can get him back to being more of what he was when he returned, then I think there's still a good opportunity for them to continue to fight through this series, compete against Houston, and have an opportunity to overtake them.
All right, Chris. All right, Jahmai. Please let everybody know if they want to follow you. Please plug in your social media, where they can find your work, all that good stuff.
Absolutely. I mean, always on Twitter, at Webster on TV. You can find me there. You see me around the ballpark, say what's up. It's all good. So happy to interact and happy to do this.
All right, man. Appreciate you to giving us a few times. We appreciate it. Hopefully we get you back when they're in the World Series.
All right. Yeah, we shall see. That's the hope around here for sure. You guys take care.
Definitely. All right, you guys have been watching the Plus One interview. Have a good day. All right, and we are back. So we're running kind of short on time, so we can't get to the interview parts of the show with all the high school players. But go to LCTV after the whistle to check out the high school interviews with Coach Mackenzie Charles, Wesley Chandler, David Brown Jr., Coach Driscoll, Coach Grimes, and all those players who won this past Friday. Lynn English got their first win of the season. So congratulations to Mac, his first win as head coach. I know they needed that because they was going through it. But besides that, check out these high school football highlights. And then we're going to come back, top 10, and give our game picks.
They always tell me they wishing that I would do more. If you ain't getting it poppin', then what you up in my room for? I stopped fucking with people who couldn't see my vision. Now they call it nigga fake and say I'm acting different. On the mission, can't listen to what nobody thinking. If I lost it all today, they probably end up missing. Told Shorty don't worry about any other bitch. Stay 100, they won't have a chance to take your place. Mama voice up in my ear saying I should've listened. I tend to bring them all together like I'm getting christened. I ain't falling for the poison, I ain't Bell Bivens. The foe wanna see me fall, but I'm never tripping. That's the way that it go. Getting to it is a must when your pockets is low. Saying what you think, probably calling them broke. When you win, they scream team. When you lose, you alone. It's crazy. Niggas wanna act like I'm finished, but I'm only just beginning. Sorry God for all the sinning. Every day I'm waking up. It's a blessing, not a given. Cause that's just some other proof that I can go and make a difference. Somebody asked me if I'm still making music. That's like wondering if Russ gon' get a triple dub. I'd rather stack it in the stash than throw it in the club. You rappers vetting too much, I think you need a hug. I think I'm tired of runners that try to act like plugs. I think I realize they don't really make them real like us. Say they real, but they ain't really real. These days I be stuck in my ways. Ain't really much left to say. Show the love and now I gotta part ways. Hurts when you find out fake. Hurts that the girl you want probably giving me face.
and we are back. Let me give a quick shout out to the Newton South head basketball coach. He watches the show.
That's dope.
New South. He likes what we're doing out here.
Come on down, man.
He sent me a message saying he enjoys it.
Yeah.
He likes what we're doing with all the student athletes. So he checked it out. Also, the men's head coach, football coach, he watches, he enjoys it. He was also named the New England Patriots Coach of the Week, Coach Joe Grimes.
Man, congrats,
from
man.
Manchester, Essex. He watches the program, and he said he enjoyed it when he watched. So
come on down.
Give a shout out to them.
Come on, visit, man. Come hang out with us.
Top 10 plays. And we are back. I forgot to do to tally up the scores from last week, so I'll get that to y'all.
I got smiggity.
Yeah, it was.
Yo, once I seen the Chiefs lose to the Bills, I was so sick because you knew I wanted to pick the Bills, but I was like, I just can't pick against the Chiefs.
It was a bad one for me. All right, we're going to run through this one. Okay, Thursday Night Football, Tampa at Philadelphia. I don't know who he picking, but I'm picking Tampa.
Oh, my bad. I thought I had a brain dead moment. Who was doing it?
Tampa, Philly, Thursday Night Football.
Oh, Tampa.
Miami versus Jacksonville. This is in London. I hope they keep both of them over there.
Jacksonville.
Yeah, I'm going with you with Jacksonville.
Yeah.
They should keep both teams over there. Green Bay at Chicago. Bears been playing well.
Green Bay.
I'm going to go with the Bears just because they're at home. Cincinnati at Detroit.
Cincinnati, man.
Yeah, Bengals. Houston at Indy.
Houston.
Going with Houston. I would go with.
Right.
Yeah, they're all right. I would go with Houston, but they're on the road, so I'm going to go with Indy. Rams, Giants.
Rams.
Yeah, Rams. Chiefs, Washington.
Chiefs, man.
Yeah, this is the last week I'm picking the Chiefs. If they lose this week, I ain't going to be picking them for a while. Minnesota at Carolina. This should be a good one.
Minnesota.
I'm going with Minnesota as well. Chargers, Baltimore. This is game of the week at Baltimore.
Chargers, man.
No, Chargers.
They're on a roll.
I'm going with the Ravens. Arizona, Cleveland. Ooh, another one.
Cleveland.
You going with Cleveland?
Yeah.
You want to go with? I'll go with you with that. I'll go with you with that, Cleveland. Denver and Raiders. This is in Denver.
Oh, Raiders.
You going with the Raiders?
Yeah.
Too many issues right now with the Raiders. I'm going with the Broncos. We know we're picking the Pats. Seattle at Pittsburgh.
You know what's crazy? I forgot about the Raiders issues already.
Yeah.
Seattle.
Geno Smith's the quarterback for Seattle, so I'm just going to go with Pittsburgh.
Yeah, Seattle, man.
Buffalo, Tennessee.
Buffalo.
That's it. That's Monday Night Football, Buffalo, Tennessee. All right, we are out of here. Thank you guys for watching. LCTV After the Whistle, Lynn Community Facebook page, Mukala K on Instagram, Mr. Burn23 on Instagram. And yeah, we got to get out of here because we got to do something right now with some high school students from Lynn Classical Soccer Team. So
wash your hands. All in 30 seconds. Let me do that 20-second nonsense.
Don't.